News Radio.
Good morning and welcome to Coffee Ann, the longest-running panel discussion show in American radio. To make a comment or ask a question of the panel, call 401-766-1240 or email coffee@woonsocketradio.com. And now, let's join the Coffee Ann panel.
And a good morning to you. It's time for Coffee Ann here on ON AM and FM, Wednesday morning, December 7th, 2022. I'm Joe Callahan. Thanks for joining us this morning at the Coffee Ann table. We'll say hi to Woonsocket City Councilor John Ward. Good morning to you, John.
Good morning, everybody out there.
Nice to have you here with us.
Beautiful,
Newly
it's a rainy
reinaugurated.
day.
That's right.
About 80 degrees. Why isn't it?
It's
It's
so
about-
bizarre.
it's
It's
about-
so
John
mild
just
for
came-
December.
John just came back from Florida.
Oh,
you know,
he's
where
still in
he's
80
golfing
degree.
with his bros.
Apologize to everybody for last week's mess up where I forgot to tell you that I was not going to be here.
We were very worried.
We were concerned.
We were very concerned. We built a lot of theories. So I'm glad it's sitting
Most of them,
up next
all of them
to
were
us.
all wrong.
They were.
I was jetting to Florida at the time.
All right. Melissa Smith from the St. Antoine Communities is here. Hi, Melissa.
Good morning, everybody.
And Dave Richards is here. Tim Draper is not, but hello there, Tim. Dave.
Just for a few moments, because we have some milk fund biz to do
All right.
after Melissa's message.
Yes, first message from the St. Antoine Communities, Melissa.
Yeah, so for those of you that don't know a lot about St. Antoine Community, we are a large long-term care campus located in North Smithfield and on the line of Blackstone, Mass. And Woonsocket. And on our property, we offer an expansive continuum of services that range from assisted living to short and long-term skill care. We have a state-of-the-art rehab center, a private hospice suite, as well as a large secured memory care unit. And the two buildings on our property are the Villa at St. Antoine, which is our 76-apartment assisted living facility, and the Residence at St. Antoine, which is our 180-bed short and long-term skilled care facility. So if you're presently at a crossroads with your loved one and trying to determine when is the right time to seek more help and support, I encourage you to reach out to me. You can call me at 401-767-3500 or email me at msmith@santantoine.net. Thank you.
Here's a question I never asked you, Melissa.
Sure.
We always call you Melissa. Were you ever called Missy?
We haven't talked about this on the air.
I don't think so. Have we ever
I
talked
thought
about
we
this,
went
John?
through this when you used to
One
call
of
me
the
Mary
long
and Martha
obviously.
in the beginning.
Not
I had a lot of names when I first started on the
Yeah, I
air
know,
with
I
you. You
know.
were like Mary,
I finally
Martha.
settled on Melissa.
And I thought we talked about this. Missy makes me cringe just
Does
because
it?
elementary
Okay.
school I had a friend with a dog named Missy.
Okay.
And so once I found that out, and they jokingly would say, "Oh, you're like a
yeah,
dog
dog.
named Missy."
No,
I
that's
just
hysterically
it just,
funny.
Now,
I have
yeah.
a friend named Melissa
Oh, okay.
who is not at all offended if I just call her Mel.
Oh yeah, I go by Mel a lot more.
Yeah.
I have to say, so growing up, my maiden name was Van Luling. It's Dutch. So, and I've been long known as Van. So my friends call me Van, Mini Van, because my older brother and my sister were before me. So I used to be Mini Van.
You were smaller.
Do you wear Vans?
I did for a while. My kids wear them. The ongoing gift in my family from my mom to all the Dutch kids is the Vans logo T-shirts as they've gotten
okay.
older. You know, everyone's gonna have the Van shirts. But yeah,
What's your husband call you?
he calls me wife.
Why? Other than that?
There's a few other names I won't share.
Dear. Yes, dear.
Yes, dear.
Dear,
No, that doesn't
yes.
come out very often.
Here's a good one. I interviewed one time a female rabbi.
Oh.
We had one here in Woonsocket, and I interviewed her on the air on this program, as a matter of fact. And the Jewish have a gender-specific name for the rabbi. I mean, not just rabbi, but and so the question was, Rabbi, what do people call your husband? And she said, Lucky.
Yeah.
Clever,
Yeah,
huh?
that sounds like something I would say.
Brought down the house.
Yeah. Yep. Quick on her feet. 100%.
All right. Very good. Dave, we got some gifts for the Milk Fund.
You betcha.
So let's go do that now.
Let's start with Councilor John Ward, who has
Yes.
an envelope that he opened up with a
did.
purported gift for the Milk Fund
It's a
inside.
beautiful Christmas card, and it comes from the St. Joseph Seniors. And inside it says, "Merry Christmas, may your Christmas be filled with love and peace." And it says this donation is in memory of Rita Russo. She had been the St. Joseph Senior Club president for 35 years.
Right, yeah.
And this is a donation from the St. Joseph Seniors in the amount of $100.
Ooh,
Nice.
thank you very
Oh,
much.
that's lovely.
Thank you. Now, I
Very
also
nice.
gave a check that came in yesterday to Melissa.
Oh.
Now, the person who gave it to us was here on the show yesterday, but preferred us not to make a big deal about it while they were here because that's not what they do with charity. Mm-hmm. And so, would you read that, please?
So we have permission that we can share this
Well,
on
yeah,
there.
I just didn't want to be here while we're making a lot of stuff.
I hope I don't mispronunciate
Makes them
his
feel
name.
uncomfortable. No, you won't.
So this donation was given from an Edward Carew.
No, you did.
I did. There's so many options I could have gone with, and of
Ed
course
Car-
I picked the wrong one.
In Woonsocket, Carew.
In Woonsocket, Carew.
You
Okay.
followed the Woonsocket rule very nicely, but he's an exception. And he's an exceptional guy.
I try so hard in this area. It's so challenging, I have to
I
say.
know. Most of the times, two-syllable surnames in Woonsocket get the first syllable
Yeah.
in.
Yep.
But that's not the way it is with this guy.
Anyways,
And he's from Woonsocket.
obviously an extremely generous gift of $250.
From Ed Carew, $250.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you very much.
Thanks,
And
Ed.
Before I leave and leave you guys to all of your exciting, I'm waiting to hear what John has to say about last night, among other things. I just wanted to acknowledge 3 other checks for the Milk Fund that aren't going to go into the paper as such. These are checks that are sent to us to support the Milk Fund auction so that we can cash them and use the cash to buy gift cards for the auction. So they have that express purpose. And one of them is our Washington correspondent, Adam Boards. Another one's from the Village Barber LLC. Let's see, who wrote that out to us? Illegible signature. And then Rogers Tire and Front End Service on Cass Avenue gave us $30 as well to buy Milk Fund auction stuff, gift cards that we can auction off in the afternoons. John, you're going to be our auctioneer this afternoon, aren't you?
Is it this afternoon?
Yes, it
Yes.
is.
Oh, good Lord, I've got to be in every place today.
Welcome back from vacation.
Well, I swapped out with somebody, right?
You did.
Yeah.
And now you're here today.
I wasn't sure what date I swapped to. Yikes. I have a busy day today. But just to defend Melissa here, I grew up with a person whose last name ended in EAU and it was pronounced Morisot.
Yeah.
I grew up with and know a person whose name is Nadeau,
Yep.
and it's called NATO.
NATO or Netto?
So
Yep.
to get Caro wrong, because
Right.
it's Carew,
Yeah,
is a perfectly
certainly-
understandable thing.
I certainly understand. I mean, I probably shouldn't have said, "Don't worry, you'll get it right." But I have to
So-
correct it afterwards.
If I had come in blind, I might have said Caro.
As someone
Yeah.
who had a last name that
Ed
used to
Carew.
get butchered all the time, it comes with the turf, and I'm
Right.
sure that Edward is forgiving of my
Because
Oh, yeah.
slight
I've,
error.
Nice guy.
I've
nice
never heard him referred to as Boo Bridges.
You're right.
That's funny. That's funny. So, John, we're going to call an audible for your auction this afternoon.
Dave.
I had put together the auction and the promo and everything, and it talks about a Greater Woonsocket trivia game.
Yes.
You can see it right there. It's brand new in the
can.
box. You remember those when they
I
came out,
do.
right?
Woonsocket Trivia, yes, I
That's
do.
right. And so that's a historical and a very nice item that from history that's brand new in the box. It's amazing.
Wow.
And we're going to auction it off, but we're not going to auction it off this afternoon.
Oh,
I
this is
would
a-
like
this
to
is
do
an
that with you. here.
Overtime thing?
Well, it's not that. No, is that Joe said, "Dave, you idiot." The Autumn Fest steering committee is coming
Does he
in
say that a lot?
as guest
daily.
auctioneers. And because the Greater Woonsocket Trivia Game was a fundraising project for Autumn Fest, it would be more appropriate, says Mr. Callahan,
Defer to
to have
that
them
day.
auction it off.
That makes sense.
So you get the
game that's
the
behind.
Greater Providence Trivia.
Great Providence.
Best of luck.
I'm sorry.
I'll bet you it involves Mineral Spring Avenue.
Or
That's
as
North
Mike
Providence.
Sheridan
That's
used to
Greater
call it,
Providence.
miserable
It says
Spring
Greater
Avenue.
Greater Providence includes Pawtucket, North Providence, Grandson,
Okay.
Warwick.
We'll see.
And if you're in California, it includes Woonsocket.
I mean, Rhode Island Green International Airport is still PVD.
That's right.
You betcha.
All right. Thanks, Dave. And
Thanks.
before we get to John and the goings on of last night, I wanted to ask Melissa, because I got a hold of Melissa because John's brother Tom said, hey, Mount St. Charles is raffling off 4 Taylor Swift concerts all in a row. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 seats right in a row. You got to get a hold of Mount St. Charles. $60 for 1 ticket. and $100 if you want two. What a bargain! But anyway, so I got a
Great
hold of Melissa.
fundraiser.
I said, "This is going on. You got to call
for
them. So please, check it out." And did you?
I'm the least luckiest person. There's not a droplet of a chance for me to win those tickets. And
Did
no, I
not-
didn't end up
it
doing
didn't-
it.
oh, okay.
What I found
I
funny
wanted to know-
was
it wasn't a joke. I was trying to. I said,
No,
"Oh,
it
this
was
is funny."
so,
Oh,
no, your
let's see if
message was
she's-
so sweet.
Let's see if she falls for this. No,
I
it's a
feel
real
bad.
thing.
I feel like I've maybe overshared my love of T Swift. So now every week for the last 4 weeks, it's all we've talked about.
Well, that's what comes up.
Joe very kindly left me a voice message
T
with
Swift.
T Swizzle, actually.
T-Swizzle. Oh.
T Swizzle.
For her fans.
Mom of teenage girls. But it's really so kind of you to think of me and with great enthusiasm on my voicemail. You've got to check
gotta
this
do
out.
this.
Look what I just heard about. And I appreciated it. And I did spread the word to others. But shortly after I got your message, did you see the story that broke about
People are suing
Ticketmaster?
Are you in on the lawsuit?
No, actually, and so in the headline, it comes across like people like me would be suing them. That's
Right,
not the case.
yeah.
It's the people who got sucked into. They were having or offering a merchandise sale to get a code with like an early access code, just like Capital One members, just
Right.
like that kind of thing. So those people were baited into purchasing merchandise to get this early
Code
access code,
to
and
buy
then still
tickets.
were not able to get in.
But
So
they
those
got-
people are
but
the
they got
ones
them
that
for
are
the-
suing.
They got them for the money for the merchandise,
Yes.
though, right?
So that's what they're
wow.
looking at, and it appears that they may have a very strong
Oh, yeah.
case.
I guess so. I didn't realize
so
the
we'll
details
see what
of it.
happens. I don't think this is the end of the story.
Oh,
but
no. But okay.
For your listeners' sake, we don't need to keep talking about Taylor
and
Swift every
Taylor
week.
Swift.
For the
Well, for my part, Joe,
I enjoy it.
I actually heard you discussing that, and
Yeah.
immediately went to my office and spread the word around the office that this raffle was
You have to
going
call
on
them out
because
and get in on
This
this.
is
Call
great
out
for
and
them.
get
This is
in
going to
on
be
it.
a huge fundraiser. I would be
It
very
can be.
curious to see
It
how
can
much
turn-
money they
it-
raise.
It can turn into an enormous fundraiser, actually.
I just and I would love to know who was
Everyone
able.
I said, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I would like to know. I don't know if I ever will. Whoever got the 4 tickets, to just donate them. Very incredibly generous because they could have sold them. For
And who
thousands
knows
of
if it
dollars.
was, I mean, I hate to put it this way, but who knows if it was, like in my case, my sister was logging in, I was logging in. If we had both had an opportunity to get them, then you got 4 tickets, 2 people, then yeah, you might just say, I'm going to give half of them away. I feel lucky. And maybe that's what happened. Maybe 2 family members both scored and yeah.
Okay.
Or maybe someone just loves Mount enough to say, that matters more to me than
I
seeing
guess.
Taylor Swift.
There you go. All right, very good. I wanted to get to a note that was written in for us, and just a quick update on the New England Patriots. Some people call them the evil empire. To the fans across the country, for sure. Their dominance for years, and football fans were now they're just sick of them and developed a hatred for them, a real hatred for them. It's too bad because their dynasty cannot be overlooked now. The Patriots are a mediocre team, and guess they just can't appreciate what they have done. And ignorant fans love their losing, which is true. I've been in places where people who really hated the Patriots wished their plane would just crash and the whole team die. They hated them so
extreme.
badly.
That's so
I'm like-
extreme.
I'm like, geez,
They're
I
just,
always.
they're just upset because Brady pulled off another last minute.
Oh, that was
win the
another.
other day.
Isn't that just unbelievable?
It's
3 minutes-
unbelievable,
3
but
minutes
the
to go.
game all leading up to was awful.
Yeah,
so
that's-
it was like
that's right.
you're just sitting there, like all they want to talk about is the
was-
fabulous ending, but the game
it
was,
was so awful you would think you were watching the last Patriots game.
yes.
Well, and did the Patriots win?
I was
No.
going to say if we had had a miraculous ending, I don't know that we would be talking about them
No,
in
that
such a
was-
hated way. But
No.
Every time I saw a pass thrown, it was, oh God, did he really do that? He was floating them. He was missing the target.
Is this Tom or
No,
Mac?
no, Matt.
Yeah.
It was just awful. Just-
Yeah.
He didn't look like he was confidently
It's-
throwing even one pass the whole game.
It's cringy every time he
Very.
drops back to pass. I'm like, oh,
But
not again.
he seems like he's not sure of himself.
Mm.
Because, as I said, when you see a pass go, usually you see these line drives go that could hurt you.
Look,
And these
that's the way
things,
Tom
these things were
throws.
just floating.
Yeah.
It was like he was tentatively trying to place it somewhere.
And now he's yelling
instead
at Patricia and
Patricia.
Belichick that he wants to throw it more.
yeah.
He wants the offense
But
to
we
turn
don't know
it to
what's
that. I'm like,
happening in
No.
practice. We don't
No, you
know
don't.
the mixed messages in the beginning of the season with
There's
quarterbacks.
something about watching great quarterbacks throw a ball. They throw it with confidence to a place where the player isn't yet, and they
Yeah, and they'll
rely
run
on the
into
player
it.
to get there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they do it with it's done with speed
inaccuracy.
and accuracy,
Yeah.
and you can see it come out in them. And so when Brady's on, that's what you get. These
Yeah,
bullets
that's
that
right.
go to a spot and somebody's there to catch it. And even Cousins, I know I'm always catching flack for supporting
liking
Cousins,
Kirk
but
Cousins,
his
yeah.
statistics were always there, and now he's got a team around him. And so the statistics are actually worse, but the team is better.
Yeah.
And he's learned to deal with that. But when he throws a pass, he's throwing it confidently that he knows cost Jefferson's a miracle worker. And it's just not happening for the Patriots.
I'm predicting a win over Arizona. I don't know about Vegas
Don't
because
do
Vegas
it.
is going in they're coming up, and then it's 2 losses against Miami and Buffalo. That's just the way it is, and they don't make the playoffs. That's my prediction.
Oh,
Do you think
Alright.
it's unusual that we haven't heard any? Usually Bill in this kind of a moment, there'd be some shakeup in coaching. There'd be something happening internally.
He's already said about
So-
Patricia staying around.
I know he's so
So-
committed, but I don't really get it.
He doesn't normally change things up too much during the season.
no, it'll
It's
be
just
after the season.
After the
feeling
season.
very like you need something
To
to
happen.
blame it on. You
Yeah.
need something to kind of clear the air
Lack-
because the tone is
what-
just
Lack
not.
of talent on
What's
the
going to
team.
be interesting, though, is Tampa is at the top of their division at 6-6.
Isn't that crazy?
Amazing.
Yeah.
That is amazing.
I
All
mean,
right.
there is one whole division, I think, still in football where every team has a losing record, isn't there? Or is
I
that the
don't-
division where every team did have a losing record and now 6-6 Tampa?
I will do a
I
little
think
research.
that's what it was.
All right.
It was kind of odd seeing an entire division with a losing record.
Okay. Melissa, it's time for a second message from the St. Antoine communities, and then we'll get into other things after the break.
Okay, so I mentioned on the air last week that I was going to have a special drop off from Amanda from Navigant, and she did, in fact, on Monday drop off 20 beautiful wreaths, all created and crafted by all the different branches at Navigant that were willing to participate in this year's silent auction at St. Antoine, which we've done now for 5 years in a row. So we have 20 beautiful wreaths displayed in the main corridor at our 10 Rhodes Avenue address, which is the residence. And I just encourage you to stop by and take a look at these wreaths. They're beautiful. Make a bid if you're able to. The low bid starting price is $25, but more than worth it. And you're raising money for a good cause. We're looking to support some new activity programming at St. Antoine Community. It's a fun event. It decorates the hallway for the season, but it's a great way to give back and also bring a little joy back to your own home. So I encourage you to swing by, take a look, make a bid, and if you can't, take a look at our Facebook page because I did post a picture of each wreath individually and welcomed folks that couldn't make it in to private message our account, and I'd be happy to put a bid in on your behalf. So take a look at our Facebook account, St. Antoine Community, or you can always reach me at 767-3500, and I'd be able to put a bid in on your behalf. Thank you so much for your support, as always.
Very good. Thanks, Melissa. More Coffee and coming your way. Stay tuned. At Dean Bank, their focus is on helping their customers achieve financial success. Dean Bank is a full-service bank, so they're able to deliver solutions that solve financial problems of all shapes and sizes. And as your neighbor, it's their mission to make a positive impact within the communities where they live and work. Dean Bank offers scholarships to students from participating schools, sponsor local charitable organizations, and more. Visit one of their local Blackstone Valley branches in Bellingham and Blackstone today, or find us online at deanbank.com. Dean Bank, it's my bank.
It's always a good time of year to shop at the Honey Shop at Park Square, Woonsocket, but now's the best time with special events all month long. This Sunday, November 11th, join us for a class in making cranberry sauce and farmhouse cranberry cheddar. If you're looking for some amazing gifts at affordable prices, stop by the Honey Shop. The shop is packed with hostess gifts, teachers' gifts, handcrafted jewelry, charcuterie boards with cheeses, sausage, crackers, dips and soup mixes, gift boxes with hot sauces, salsas, or barbecue sauce, body care products like lavender bath soak ornaments, seasonal fragranced items, essential and fragrance oils. They also have Himalayan salt lamps, chakra sage smudges, and holiday ornaments, customizable gift baskets and boxes. Stop by for affordably priced, locally crafted gifts at the Honey Shop, 1300 Park Avenue, Woonsocket, 766-1488.
The Coffee and Panel is enjoying coffee from Down East Coffee in Pawtucket. They're a 62-year-old family business that roasts all its coffee right here in Rhode Island. Founded originally as Excellent Coffee Company, they provide great coffee to food service establishments throughout New England.
We're local and live at 99.5 FM.
All right, it is Coffee and here on ON, AM, and FM. Thanks for joining us. Joe Callahan here, along with John Ward and Melissa Smith. We did take a quick look. Yeah, the Tampa Bay is on top of the NFC South at 6-6, and the Patriots are 6-6. We're in last place.
Cruising to the playoffs.
All right.
Yeah,
Anyway,
that's true. They're 6-6 and in last place.
So, there
while
you go.
Tampa's in first place at 6-6.
Makes no sense. All right. So last night was the inauguration. So you're sworn back in, John. Now, are you all sworn in as a group, or do you all go individually?
The school committee is sworn in as a group, the council is sworn in as a group, and then the mayor.
And then the
sworn
mayor. Okay. And we had it on the news this morning. Chris Beauchamp elected as president.
Chris Beauchamp elected as president.
Vice president was? We have it as Valerie.
Valerie Gonzalez.
Okay.
I was forgetting the Valerie. I don't know why.
Valerie. Now you'll never forget.
She is the council vice president for this
Okay.
term. Yes.
Was it crowded last night?
It was a
Good
full,
size?
full house.
At St. Anne's?
St. Anne's, yes.
Okay.
Very nice place. It's always been nice. Ever since I was going there for church when my kids were getting their first communion.
All right.
Long, long time ago.
Anything else you want to say about what happened at the inauguration,
it
or about the
went
new
well.
council?
It was a good program. A little lengthy because it started at 7 and you can't get sworn in until 8. So Justice Williams got up to speak and said, "I've got to talk with you for 10 minutes because it's not 8 o'clock yet."
Is that the rule? Is that in the?
That's what's in the charter.
Charter
It says
that-
you'll be sworn in.
At
The
8
term
o'clock.
will begin at 8 p.m. on
okay.
Tuesday. On the Tuesday following the first Monday after November, or the first Tuesday following November 30th, or something like that.
So did he get up and start
So
telling jokes,
it
or?
has, no, well, he just did a little talk about Abraham Lincoln and the fact that Lincoln came to Woonsocket, and talked about some of the things he said, focusing on a quote from Lincoln back in his early days before he was in office, where he used the phrase "right makes might," and spoke to that question, and then meandered for a while about Lincoln, and then ended up saying, "Is it
Meandered.
time yet?" And he still had 3 minutes left. And so he kept going,
Did a
and,
little soft shoe.
he did a good job though.
All right, great. So I'm glad things went well, and
It went well.
and went off without a hitch.
The-
And,
well, there was the risk of some tension, but it was.
I was
avoided.
hearing rumors like that. I'm like, well, that doesn't normally happen at the inauguration.
Well,
but,
normally at the inauguration, you do nothing except pick a president and vice president, approve the rules of order, and then appoint the municipal court judge, the assistant municipal court judge, or the substitute, and the probate court judge. And that's usually the entire agenda. It's historically, that's all that's ever been there. The mayor wanted some resolutions put on there, so she placed some resolutions on the agenda. One was authorizing the removal of and sale of the gravel at Cass Park because it was part of her platform, and despite the fact that they have always had the authority based on a resolution in 2021, it seems like now that there's a new council and the old bums are gone, it's taken on a new meaning because we basically said the same thing last night as was said in 2021. But that's what she wanted. And then she put another resolution on that caused extreme consternation. And so it was laid on the table forever, I hope, because the way it was written was that, let me see, where's the words? Ah, yes. Whereas certain provisions of the charter have been misused and abused by certain members of the immediately preceding city council. That's not exactly the way you promote civility and collegial debate among council members by criticizing and making hostile statements about the preceding city council. Because had they acted on it, I would have had to add an amendment of, whereas the mayor willfully and intentionally violated the city charter and forced us to remove her from office, we need a charter review commission. But it was laid on the table and not acted upon, and that's for the best, because that's not what Chris Beauchamp and the crowd came in talking about when
Right.
there's civility. This certainly didn't represent civility. I don't know why she put it there. And after we had our conversations amongst each other on Saturday from Florida, I was on the phone all morning with the rest of the council members, and they all pretty much unanimously agreed that it has no business being on the agenda, so it was left off.
Okay. Other than that, I'm glad things went well for the inauguration, and there were no
It
no
did.
nastiness
I mean,
there. So
and don't
that's
get me
good.
wrong. And by the way, that resolution about appointing a charter review commission is not a legal requirement, obviously, because the mayor appoints a charter review commission every 10 years. It was on the list of requests of the mayor back in January 26th of 2020 or 21, after the last election, when I put it on the list of goals, knowing that it had been 10 years because there had been a charter review back in 2011. And she just never got around to it. Now I think she's going to make it a higher priority because there's clearly a part of the charter that she wants removed or changed related to the removal from office.
Okay. Well, we'll see how that goes with the charter review. There's a couple of things I wanted to ask John, and I've sat on this for a couple of weeks because you weren't here, and I it's always best to ask you because it has to deal with the city and things that are going on. And it's actually someone wrote this into this, and I said I don't think we've ever asked John what can be done about this, and it's an ongoing problem. It ebbs and flows. Some days it's not bad. Some days it's awful. And we're talking about the odor out of the wastewater treatment plant on Cumberland Hill Road. And sometimes it's just atrocious. Other times it's fine. And it's been going on for 20 years, if not longer.
No,
And
longer than that.
All right. And I keep hearing, we're looking into it. We're looking into it. We're looking into it. Okay, it's been over 20 years, and nothing's changed.
As long as the sludge burning facility has been there, it's happened.
Yeah.
I think they identified the predominant cause being the trucks coming in. Some of them are uncovered trucks with.
So it's not the plant itself then.
The plant itself will have problems from time to time,
Mm-hmm.
but they're not as severe as what will happen when the trucks with the waste.
With the waste coming in
come
from other towns.
And the way the system works is they're supposed to drive into a bay and close a door behind them, so that when the trucks
Unload.
are unloaded, whatever odors are there will be contained in the building. And they have filtration that should take care of those odors so it doesn't get out into the atmosphere. Unfortunately, too often the
what's
doors are
happening?
left open.
Okay.
Or the trucks are sitting in line, and some of them are not. There's some that are in a somewhat liquid form that are in tankers. There's others that are just in trucks that are covered over
Like with a tarp?
With a tarp.
Okay.
And because it tends to be more solids.
Yeah.
And so if they sit there for any great length of time,
Okay.
they're going to
That's
put
what's
off
going to
an
happen.
odor.
Okay.
So I think it's going to come, and then there's processing. There is a processing of Synagros sludge that has some of which that they can't burn, mainly the remnant liquids that come out of it that go to the sewage treatment facility through a system.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a part of that system that broke down is what caused the leak, the overflow into the
Blackstone?
river.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what Director D'Agostino is working on, getting that resolution in place and corrected. And then we have to solidify a contract to name responsibility when things like this happen, and then possibly put in some kind of protection for the citizens to see if we can lower the amount of opportunities for these trucks to be throwing off odors as they line up to dump off their waste.
Can it be done?
I would think it can be done better than it's done now. I don't know that it can be completely eliminated. There is always the option if we want to spend $2.5 million more on our sewer bill across the users, we can simply say, as soon as this contract's up, we're closing that facility and no longer operating it. That will eliminate that aspect of it. I don't think it'll eliminate all the odors, but it'll eliminate a lot of the odors. But as I said, it supports the city to the tune of about $2.5 million, which is why if you are living in a town that's serviced by the Narragansett Bay Commission, you're getting two bills. One is from your local sewer lines transmitting the sewage to the Narragansett Bay lines, which in Lincoln costs $100 a year. And then you get a bill from the Narragansett Bay Commission for about $700. Woonsocket's bill is about $400 and change.
Mm-hmm.
If we got rid of that Synagro facility, our bill might go up to $600, $700 each. So
All right.
there's a benefit to having that treatment, that waste sewage treatment system in place for the savings. The question is,
There's a downside, too.
Is it worth? Yeah, it's a trade-off,
Mm-hmm.
and the people have to decide at some point. Or the administration would have to decide whether they want to suggest that the people be given the choice to say no.
Mm-hmm.
The problem then becomes what happens to all that waste, and where do we get rid of our solids
Yeah.
that have to be eliminated, because Woonsocket pretty much treats a lot of New England. And so we would have to not just, everybody would have to find a new place
Truck it out of here, right?
to truck it out of here, and then we would have to find a new place to truck
Yeah.
it out of here.
All right. Well, it's been an ongoing problem
challenge.
for years and years and years, and
Probably
I
the
don't know if it's
greatest
gonna go
challenge
away.
the city has faced over time.
Yeah.
And now we're talking about putting an athletic facility right
Nearby.
in the path.
Yeah.
And frankly, the athletic facility that's being built is going to be built into a hill structure that's going to actually hold the odor.
In?
And if
Wow.
the air is dense enough or moist enough, it will tend to sit on the ground, which means if the winds are coming out of the west, it will blow the odor, as it does now,
Mm-hmm.
straight over the Dion track area and over to that athletic facility. So if you're attending a Friday night game under the lights,
Ooh, it's gonna be rough.
you may be enjoying
Mm-hmm. Odors.
the odor from the treatment.
Fun
plant.
conversation,
So
isn't it, Melissa?
No.
It's going to be a tricky problem
It
for
is.
that athletic facility and hosting games
And things like that
in,
when
in
that
a
happens.
space that is got a hill behind it with
Mm.
trees that hold the odor as it comes across and doesn't allow it to roll out.
You're
I'm
gonna
ju-
go ahead, Melissa.
No, I was just going to say, I know that when we even did, and this is like so not even in comparison to what you're describing, when we did the track and field over at North Smithfield High School, it was like a 1.5-year project. Just even the old turf rolled up, for example, right? Just the odor that came from that. But on the humid nights and the bugs that were attracted and the porta potties nearby, people would not go to nighttime basketball games because of it, because it was that offensive. What you're describing, and just obviously a completely different capacity, way worse. I'm thinking it's going to be a
multiply it by
turnout for people
1,000.
going, but it's also going to attract in the more humid nights, which we're in New England, right? So there's a lot of moisture-filled days and humid days, hot days. The smell is going to be that much worse, and it's going to attract bugs, and people are not going to want to go to the field.
But and the field, the field again with the odors, and it's most noticeable when they have what you call a temperature inversion, where your warmer air is down low and you get cold air holding it in place, and there's usually fog or heavy dense fog with it. And in that fog is probably the worst times you will ever experience that. And it generally happens in the morning, but sometimes in the evening. And if it happens in the evening, and it's a spring and fall type of thing.
Yeah.
If it happens in the evening, that could really, it gets it gets thicker and much nastier.
You're gonna get pushback from the other teams.
Yep.
You know, they're
They're
gonna
not
come
gonna
here
wanna
and
have
say,
games at your
"We don't want to
facility."
come here anymore. This is awful for our players."
Fortunately, there's only 8 games a year. I don't even know if it's 8 games. How many high school games are played in the home field?
4, 8,
games.
maybe a little,
Maybe a
maybe
little more.
10.
But that will also serve as their practice facility too, correct? So it's
Yeah.
not like you're just there for games.
Yes.
You're there for
Well, and not only that, that's going to be the soccer field.
Yeah,
So the soccer games will be played there.
that's more teams coming.
So
Now-
I'm sure there's been like health survey analysis done of the air quality, like breathing
Oh,
it
yeah,
is is safe.
I don't think it's an air. I don't
You're
think
saying it's a
a health
20-plus
hazard.
year old problem, but I'm
I
assuming
don't-
someone has done
yeah,
an air.
I don't think it's a health problem so much, but again, depending on certain days, it may be. I'm not sure.
All right, we're going to take a break on the Coffee and program right now. More coming up. Time for the forecast being brought to you by the Ad Council.
An 80% chance of showers today with a high of 56 degrees and possible patchy fog. A south wind and up to a half an inch of rain is possible today. Tonight, rain tapers off after a period of showers and thunderstorms up to 10 p.m. Light and variable winds with an overnight low of 43 degrees. Thursday's weather, sunshine and 51. Friday, sunshine and 42. On Saturday, there is a chance of rain in the afternoon, mostly cloudy skies all day with a high of 40. Sunday, a chance of snow between 8 a.m. and 11 a.m., changing to rain during the middle of the day, cloudy skies and 37. Sunday night, a chance of snow and mostly cloudy skies, an overnight low of 29. Monday, mostly cloudy skies and 37. And Tuesday, partly sunny and 40.
Currently outside the Navigate Credit Union broadcast studio at the corner of Park Ave and Kennedy Street, we have cloudy skies, still raining, and we have 53 degrees. Okay, dads, it's time to do the Cabbage Patch the Running Man, something more contemporary, the floss. That's right, dance like a dad with your kids. Learn more at fatherhood.gov, sponsored by the Ad Council.
How often do you find yourself wishing you had more time? Time to do this or that, get to that project you've been putting off for so long? If only you could have more time. Well, there is one way to give yourself more time, and it's simple. Whenever you have shopping to do it with hometown stores and shops that are close by and convenient. Most of the time, you'll find everything you're looking for in less time with less running around. That means you can have more time for other things. This holiday season, please give our local merchants the chance to serve you first and save yourself some time.
One of our great hometown merchants is Pepin Lumber, 830 Cumberland Hill Road, Woonsocket.
Krakow Deli Bakery and Smokehouse offers authentic homemade Polish food to make your next meal real special. Try our many varieties of hot and fresh pierogi with onions and dirty sour cream, or pick up golubki, kielbasa, babkas, or some fresh rye bread. We also offer a large selection of specialty and imported goods. We're open Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays from 9 to 6, Wednesdays 9 to 5, and Saturdays 8 to 5. Follow us on Facebook to learn about our weekly specials. Located at 855 Social Street in Woonsocket, Krakow Deli Bakery and Smokehouse has all the authentic Polish foods you love.
It's been a long time. Too long.
Still cruising after all of these years.
Let's bring back the fun we enjoyed playing our favorite tunes every Saturday. Hey, it's Bruce Palmer, and I'm coming to ON Radio every Saturday from 4 to 7 p.m. I'll open the phone lines and spend time taking your requests of the best tunes ever. It's the Cruisin' Bruce Saturday Block Party, beginning December 17th at 4 p.m., exclusively on 1240 a.m. and 99.5 ON Radio.
It is Coffee In here on ON Radio. Thanks for joining us. John Ward, Melissa Smith, and I'm Joe Callahan. And yeah, we just heard Cruisin' Bruce is going to make his way to here to ON Radio.
Really?
Yeah, starting December 17th. On Saturdays, all request oldies block party show kind of
That's
thing.
great.
So we're very happy to have Bruce here
I
on.
have to say something here because you talk about radio personalities and such.
Yeah.
And I don't know that it was mentioned on this show, or I don't recollect hearing it on any show. But I saw an obituary last week. Do you know what obituary I'm talking about related to radio?
I'm not sure which one you're being specific
John
about.
Bohannon.
Jim Bohannon.
Jim Bohannon.
Jim Bohannon passed away. Yeah, I did.
And
I know
read
of Jim. Everybody knows of Jim.
I
you know.
remember listening to Jim Bohannon
Yeah.
on a syndicated show
Yeah.
for a long time. Fascinating guy. It was
Yeah.
great listening. And he passed away last week.
Yeah.
But he was one of the pioneers of
Yes, he was. He was like a Larry King.
nighttime
Talk radio.
talk radio.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
That actually probably led. I don't know. Was Red Eye Radio around before Jim Bohannon?
No, Jim came first.
Jim came first. Yeah.
Yeah.
And there, I mean, I now drive to Virginia when I get up at 2 a.m. Sometimes I like to turn
You
on
listen to Red Eye Radio?
Red Eye Radio.
Truck drivers.
As I'm driving. Because it's that thing that's on from, I
Yeah,
don't know,
2 to 6. Yeah, something like that. All right, this segment of the Coffee and Program sponsored by the Navigant Credit Union. Tim Draper could not be with us this week. We hope to have Tim back next week.
Big banks offer you everything these days. Bank from home, bank from your phone, even apply for a loan from anywhere you are. It's called Big Bank Tech, and it's pretty cool. Did you know you don't have to go to a big bank to be pretty cool? Navigant Credit Union offers their members all the big bank tech without the big bank. And if you want to come into a branch to see us, we'll make you feel like you own the place, because you do. We think that's pretty cool, too. Navigant Credit Union, member NCUA.
All right, it's Coffee in here on ON Radio. All right, we're going to throw out another question to John that's been it was asked of me a couple of weeks ago. And John, in Rhode Island, because we kept bringing it up, in Rhode Island there's a surplus. It's like $610 million. Because we kept bringing it up. In Massachusetts, there was a surplus,
Yep.
and I got a check.
Me too.
Yeah, it's like, ooh, excellent.
That's
And they-
because
they said-
that's because the voters in Massachusetts have voter initiative rights.
Okay.
And they probably themselves put something on the constitutional ballot question, and you have a constitutional requirement to refund excess.
Yeah, they
to
said
the
it's
people
an obscure law.
over certain things. Is it an obscure law or a
Well, that's
constitutional?
the governor kept saying we found this obscure law that hasn't really been implemented, and now we're going to do it. But the question comes down is $610 million. What do we do with it? Do we just hang on to it and wait for something bad to happen, or should we disperse it out?
No.
No what?
You don't just hang on to it, and you don't just disperse it out.
Okay, what do you do with it?
First off, you have to figure out how much of that $610 million represents the one-time money that's coming out of this federal ARPA funds that the state has. And that, because that's one-time funds, it should be used in a way that provides long-term benefit for 10, 20, 30 years, because you're not going to have it again. And so I don't know what the breakdown is of that surplus. And then the rest of the surplus, I suspect, is because they were doing some conservative budgeting on revenue because of COVID, and it's turned around fairly well. So they should simply plan to use it. Well, first off, they may have to use some of it for infrastructure because they're not collecting tolls for a while. So they may have to put more money into the transportation programs. So that may be a hard asset they have to look at. There's also the question, and I'm not even sure it's an answerable question with a solution. There's the question of home affordability or affordable housing, homelessness, and all of that. And that's become a bigger and bigger problem because of two reasons. One is market conditions have made it very expensive to find an apartment, combined with the fact that we are one of the more generous states when it comes to the speed with which you're eligible for benefits, and the fact that they don't care where you came from, and they provide them more quickly than most states and more generously than most states. And so we have become a magnet for those in need to come here. Places like Woonsocket are a magnet because we have a core of social services available in a very small geographic area, so they come here because it's easy to access the services. The service they don't have is affordable housing and shelter. So that's a puzzle that has to be solved, and it's going to cost money. The problem with affordable housing that the government builds is the minute the government starts providing affordable housing, the rest of the housing is challenged, and landlords tend to drop the values of their properties and beat feet out of town, and government subsidized affordable housing generates slum conditions or deterioration in the market, because the marketplace has to compete at a lower price, which means they're not going to do the repairs they're supposed to do. So it's a catch-22. You win on one end, you lose on the other end, and the problem persists usually as a result of it. So I don't have a solution, but they do have to work on that homelessness problem and the housing crisis. If you brought my brother Tom in here, he would tell you that if you just let the market do its job, it would take care of itself. But that doesn't answer the people who are either willfully or unwillfully drug addicted, who live out in the streets, who aren't willing to live by other people's rules and don't really have the ability to survive in a society, or with severe mental health issues, who are out there who struggle to be able to function in society. And so even if you provide them shelter, they may not be willing to follow the rules and do what they're supposed to do to live peacefully with other people. So that's the main focus, I think, is going to be supplement the transportation funding for the lack of tolls, work on the homelessness problem, and I don't know the solution for it. And then the other thing they're going to have to do is, I think they're going to have to up their game on education funding. Massachusetts does a much better job of funding education. Urban communities in this state have been underfunded under the new formula since it was put in place. They need to find a way to change the formula, take care of the extra costs associated with all of the socioeconomic problems the students have that leads to challenges in the classroom and disruption, and find ways to provide more social service to parents or single parent families to support them in order to make it a better place for their kids to go to school and provide more in-school services for those kids.
Okay. On another subject, Melissa, we had a woman from North Smithfield on Jeopardy last night.
I had heard that, yes.
Megan Mello.
I think she actually grew up in Burrowville.
She did.
Was a Mount grad.
Yep.
But now lives in North Smithfield.
Smithfield.
So I have no idea who she is if you were leading to that question.
No, too bad.
but I heard she was on last night.
She
I
was
missed
on,
it, but I heard she was on.
Came in second place.
Oh, she did? Okay, well, hey.
And the guy from Providence that was on a couple of weeks ago, he also came in second place.
Oh.
You know, it's good, but it's
Have you ever
it's a
taken
tough game.
Have you ever taken one of those tests?
Yes,
that
and
they-
incredibly difficult.
awful
I don't know how
difficult.
I don't know how they get on the TV because the TV asks them easier questions than that test is.
Yes, that test is far beyond what's on TV. It's awful.
You got
I
to be
tried
incredibly
it and I felt
smart.
like such a dummy.
Every once in a while, because I have an Alexa device at home, I
Yeah.
play that, and they give you 6 questions, and it's always from the previous night's subjects.
Oh, okay.
I don't think it's the same questions, but it's the same. It's the same subject matter, and I think I've gotten 6 out of 6 once, and that's always my goal. And because I never know what the subjects are going to be, and so I'll play it, and it's like, no, that's not right. It's like, usually it's anywhere 3 or 4.
That might be a
but-
fun activity to add into this coffee hour. I'm just saying, with the panelists, to start to ask the 6 questions. Let's see how we do.
I'll have to write them all down.
Because we used to play that a while, my husband and I, and
Yeah.
it's very tough.
Yes.
Maybe get 2 or 3 out of the 6 correct, but like
After that, and
but
then
it
you-
takes you a minute.
But they say that when even if you get through that and you get onto the show, the real challenge is pushing the button at the right
Yeah.
At the right time.
Well, and the
Because
anxiety of you're
a
in
lot
front of
them
an
may
audience.
know the
and-
answers, but they never get a chance to answer because they don't push the button properly.
We had Leslie Page from the Woonsocket Harris Public Library comes on here, and she's been on the show, and she said the same thing. And the rule is she was on when Alex Trebek was the host. You have to wait for Alex to finish the question. I mean, you can read
but
it
can you just
faster.
sit there going?
No, it won't
can't.
Yeah, but
work.
they're only doing it at the moment he finishes the question,
and then you gotta
start
ring it.
seeing them go like this because
Yeah.
if somebody pushes a little millisecond early,
It, like, shuts it
it's
off.
not going to count it. And if you happen to be the one that comes in right at that moment after them, you'll be in.
Has there
Yeah.
ever been a theory that they've,
It's fixed.
yeah,
I don't think so. I don't
Right?
think they've been ever accused of that.
Now, since the scandals back in the 50s,
50s.
there's been much too much scrutiny over these games.
Yes. Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, I don't think they'd get away with anything these
That
days.
was a good movie. Did you ever see that movie?
I-
Quiz show?
Yeah, I don't. I may have seen it. I don't know.
About the-
I know what it was about, though.
Yeah. Oh, it's fantastic to watch. Have you ever seen it?
No.
Oh, it's good
I
stuff.
think I did watch it long ago.
There's nothing blows up. No one dies.
Oh, what?
It's, and
And that's good TV.
yes, there's no sex.
What?
I did go to Virginia for Thanksgiving and see Wakanda Forever.
How was it?
It was
I know it's the
good.
number 1 movie in
It
the
was
nation.
good.
Did you
it
like
was,
it?
It was good. Yes.
Okay.
I mean, it had
It's long, right?
these ethnic cultural slaps at
Yeah.
white society, but it's long.
But it's like a
It's long.
3.5, 4.
Yeah,
Isn't it like
it's-
almost a 4-hour
it's-
movie?
I mean, when you think of Wakanda, you're thinking about that society that shows itself to be superior because, and it's all cartoon stuff, right?
Yeah.
Comic stuff, superior to the rest of the world because of that element that they happen to find. And then, of course, you bring in a new culture. And, of course, what's this culture based on? Oh, it's basically the Mayan culture and from the Mexican area. And so they developed and they had long ago discovered the same element and had their own secret society. And
Wow. Okay.
of course, the enemy is, you know who,
Government?
us.
Us? Oh, whites.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Break time here on Coffee In, and this segment of the Coffee In
But
program
it's a good movie.
has been sponsored by Navigant Credit Union.
What does it mean that our customers are our owners? It means that we don't have shareholders like a bank. We have owners, like you. And though we don't have traditional shareholders, we do share. We share values, expectations, and yes, profits, in the form of better rates, lower fees, and dividends. Our customers are our owners. Our owners are our customers. Come join us. Navigate Credit Union.
For an Allstate agent, providing protection options that fit your life is something they take, well, personally. Allstate agents are committed to learning about your needs and helping customize protection to meet them. From bundling your home and auto insurance with ease to evaluating optional coverage, your Allstate agent can help build an insurance proposal that fits your life. And just as important as learning what you need is learning what you don't. Because helping you get coverage you want with savings you deserve is what Allstate is all about. It's time to get coverage that's catered to you. Are you in good hands? Call Kara and Celeste Benjamin at the Benjamin Agency. One agency, 2 locations in North Smithfield and Bellingham. One telephone number, 765-5000. Subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and Allstate Property and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois. Here's Woonsocket School Committeeman Donald Burke with a thought on the Milk Fund and the Milk Fund auction.
You know, one saying that I have been following most of my life is a statement from Mother Teresa. And she once said, "Few of us can do great things, but all of us can do small things with great love." I think contributing to the Milk Fund can be one of those ways. We can give a little. We're not asking for a lot, but we can give a little to help out someone in need. And obviously in today's world, there are people who have and there are people who have not. And this is a great opportunity for those who have to help out those who have not with a contribution to the auction and to the Milk Fund.
Warm holiday wishes to you from Donald Burke, Woonsocket School Committeeman.
Right now is the time for a tune-up on your vehicle. Charlie's Tire and Service Center reminds everyone that they are an authorized dealer of name brand tires like BF Goodrich, Uniroyal, Michelin, and Cooper tires. They also offer the best in mechanical repairs and service. You can't beat Charlie's Tire, 825 South Main Street, Bellingham. Charlie's Tire also offers the best in truck and high-performance tires, and they accept all major credit cards. So for top service at fair prices, for tires or mechanical repairs, it's Charlie's Tires. Remember, to get a tune-up on your vehicle, to keep your car running smooth, call Charlie's Tires, 508-883-1211.
This is Officer Justin Morey and my partner Maverick from the Woonsocket Police Department. I'd like to take a moment to remind residents to lock your car at night, remove all valuables, including Christmas presents. Do not leave keys or key fobs in the vehicle, and turn on an exterior light. These small steps will go a long way to protect your property from theft and vandalism. On behalf of the men, women, and canines of the Woonsocket Police Department, we'd like to wish you a safe and happy holiday season. Thank you.
Coffee and here on ON Radio. Thanks for joining us. I'm Joe Callahan here with Melissa Smith and John Ward. All right, stop me if you've heard this before, okay? This startup company in California, they're promising flying cars by 2025. John is scoffing.
It's
All
just
right.
no. It's just a giant. What do you call them?
What? A giant
Hot air
Drone.
balloon or
Giant drone.
Giant drone.
They already have them. You can find them. Somebody's already created one where it's a one-man drone where it is capable of lifting a body weight, and it flies and it tilts the rotors and can move forward. I've seen one in action, actually.
All right. Well,
I don't know
this
if
is
you
what
call
they
it a
say.
flying car. But
That's what they're saying. I think it's Aleph, A-L-E-F, Aleph Aeronautics. That's the name of the company. From the San Francisco Bay Area, wants to start delivering its $300,000 Model A flying car to customers by the end of 2025. All right. Aleph is already taking deposits from potential customers. It costs $150 to get on the waiting list and $1,500 for a priority spot on the list. Okay?
There's so many.
The company's CEO says building a flying car is no more complicated than a Toyota Corolla. See, now I don't know my aeronautics, but I think it would be a little more complicated to get it up in the air and then to get it to move. You know,
And how about airspace rules? Like where is this going?
Well, you
in
fly
3
you-
years' time.
You
I'm
got to
just saying.
fly under the
that.
FAA rule, so it's
Right.
under where the airplanes go.
Right. But how far above
but
roof
above-
lines?
but you gotta go
and
above the
like
trees.
There has to be. So.
But but I've heard this before. The flying cars are coming. The flying cars are coming, and I've actually seen prototypes of flying cars. But now we're looking at 3 years out, so we'll see if it actually
I think we have
arrives.
other more important matters to address in the next 3 years than flying vehicles.
Well, not this company. This is what they do.
Oh, you have a picture.
I don't have a picture of that one. There is articles about this one, but this one's a CNN travel video.
Is there a picture in your article, Joe?
No, I have no
Speaks
pictures.
of the Xpeng Art Aero HT, and they actually had a demonstration of it. And as I said, it's nothing more than a
Oh,
A
yeah.
car
Yep.
with
a
wings.
drone
Yeah.
that holds an
You're
adult.
absolutely right. It's a large drone.
So I just wonder on the Model A. You
Now,
think
let's
back
get
to
the
way
model.
back.
Well, I can get back to where they showed the.
See if you can find. Look up Aleph, ALEF Aeronautics.
I actually had it.
Is there
on
a
the
special
screen.
license you're going to
It's
need
actually- it
to
says
drive?
it's-
Like, this is
It's
You need a
just
pilot's
startup-
license.
it's a startup
seems so
backed-
soon.
It's a startup backed by a Tesla investor.
Oh, okay. Well, they got a lot of money.
Meet the Model A.
All right, well, John's looking that up. Fans of Netflix's Wednesday can now rent the Addams Family hearse if you happen to be in Los Angeles.
Okay.
Take it out to parties and impress your friends, all right?
Okay.
Netflix and Turo partnered with West Coast Customs to design the hearse in celebration of the new show. The custom Cadillac is available to book on Turo's website through December 19th. No price is given if you want to go and rent this baby for the night.
I'm good. But I will
Are
say
you
my
good?
daughter's watching that show
Do they
and
like
says
the
it's
Wednesday
fantastic.
show?
Well, my oldest is watching it. I don't think my youngest has watched it, but she says it's fantastic.
All right. Did
I don't know.
you find
So,
it?
Yeah, well, I did, and it says the Model A is designed with a distributed electric propulsion system, no exposed props, which means it's got props. So it's built into a body frame.
So no propellers.
So
huh?
you don't see the propellers, but if you look at the body design, it's got a louvered cover.
All right.
So the louvered roof to this car is where the airflow comes from underneath and above.
To lift it?
And it's all controlled and balanced by computer to lift it. And it's got gull wing doors to be fancy, and it's all-wheel drive once you hit the road. And it's an electric car. But it's
How many people can it
it's
sit?
it looks like it's probably just two.
All right. You can't fit the family.
I'll
in.
wait for the minivan version. Like, what are we doing?
Well, the question is, what are the rules once you get off the ground, and how many of them are going to hit
Oh.
power lines before too long?
That's
There's
gonna
so
happen
many
immediately.
like visuals right now that are flying. Oh, pardon the pun, flying through
Yeah.
my head. But it's just
Well, you know the FAA will jump in
3
at
years
some
or
point.
2 years from now sounds so soon for something like that to be introduced without parameters.
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
and
we'll see if production moves along fast enough, and then the FAA will get involved.
how many people
somehow.
did you say were already on the waiting list? Did you say that, or you said what the terms were to get on the waiting
no,
list?
They're,
But
they're already taking deposits.
they're already taking. But they didn't say how many
They
they've
didn't say.
already.
So you can give them $150 and you're on the waiting list, or if you want, you can bump it up to $1,500 and we'll put you to the top of the list.
Well, it's cheaper than getting Taylor Swift tickets
Soon
at
as
this
I-
point.
It is.
So
As soon as I win the Mass Millions, I'll put myself on the waiting list.
And then be ready to. It's a $300,000 car, so be ready to.
For now.
Right now, in 3 years, we'll see what it really
Yeah.
costs them. Well, we had a little more.
Well, the cost of
went up.
the cost
steel
of
went up.
producing the necessary lithium batteries.
That's
and
right. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Things that there may be a slight increase. This carbon fiber body is what it's made of,
Yeah.
but I don't know how cheap that is. We'll see.
All right. So you got to watch out now. Now that Rhode Island has legalized recreational marijuana as of December 1st.
Oh, by the way, let me interrupt.
Yeah.
Not to interrupt, but just to give you a comparison.
Yeah.
I remember back when this company called Arcimoto was making these fun utility vehicles, they called them.
Fun?
And it's a three-wheeled, two-seat electric motorcycle type vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
But it rides like a car. And they made a big deal out of it, and they said, we're going to be issuing them, we're going to be offering them between $11,000 and $20,000. And of course, now that they're putting models out there and you can buy one, you just got to be able to pay $30,000.
$30,000.
So there's where your 300 is going to go.
All right. The recreational marijuana went on sale legally in Rhode Island on December 1st. And I'm surprised this hasn't happened yet, but maybe it will. A man in Tennessee is recovering after he accidentally shot himself after a day of smoking marijuana.
Bravo.
And then he shot himself. His condition is unknown, by the way, as the investigation continues. Doesn't say how much marijuana he was smoking and why his gun was nearby, but it just was.
and there you go.
Remember the Guinness commercial?
Brilliant.
Brilliant.
Did you see the Frank O'Donnell
No.
comic? Frank O'Donnell's a comic in Rhode Island. Is just to talk about the new Rhode Island law, and there it's a take on A Christmas Carol. So there's Scrooge yelling down to the kid at the end of the play, just saying, "Hey, do you know where the dispensary is on the corner?" He goes, "The one with the 50-pound nugget that's big as me? Yes. Go and buy it and get a bag of Doritos. We're chilling later." That's really funny. So, all right, there's a rabbit that's in Texas, very lucky to be alive. He was hit. Rabbits are like other small animals, like cats, that will climb up into the car to stay warm.
Oh, yeah, stay warm.
And you're supposed to knock on the car to wake them up and get them out of
Is
there.
that what you're supposed to do?
Unless you want, dead animal.
What if you're auto starting the car?
Oh,
from the
then
house?
that's right. That's a problem. A woman took her SUV in last week for an oil change, and after the technician pulled the vehicle into the bay, he found a live rabbit under the hood. The rabbit and the employees startled each other. Then the rabbit hopped out and got away. And this has happened outside of San Antonio. Rabbits, rodents, and cats often climb up under the car's hoods to keep warm on cold nights, and they can hurt or be killed when the driver cranks up the engine. Amazing!
that smell?
The rabbit was away from anything moving in the engine and went for a
guess so.
ride inside under the
Well,
hood.
when you open up newer cars and you look at the engine compartments, there's not that much exposed that's moving
Yeah,
as it
there's a
was in
belt.
the old time with
Right,
the belts
yeah.
and the fan and because
So they're
when I-
animal
when-
safe now.
when I- safer.
They're designed as animal
Well,
safe.
they're safer, but when I was growing up,
But they're gonna get hot,
we had a
yeah.
cat, and sure enough,
Oh.
somebody went out to start the car and heard the screech, and the cat went running, and we still kept the cat. He came back. He
Came
lived
back?
with us. He had half a tail.
Okay.
Half his
you-
tail was gone.
I can still get food here, so I'm coming back.
Yeah, that's where dinner was.
Oh,
he came
okay.
back. But it took a couple of days before he came back.
He was mad at
But he
you.
came back.
All right, that does it for the show for today. We thank you very much for listening in. As always, Melissa Smith, thanks for coming in today.
Thanks for having me. See you next week.
Very good. John Ward, thanks for coming in. Best of luck
It's a
with the new
pleasure.
console.
Thank you. And I've been speaking with them, and I think we're going to do well.
Can't we all just get along?
And we will get along.
All right, that's what
as
that's
a council.
That's fine.
I can't attest for anything else.
Okay.
So everybody go out there and enjoy the God-given day.
Very good. This is Joe Callahan. Have a great day, everyone. Stay tuned. Milk Fund auction coming up this afternoon at 4 o'clock. Do you remember with Gary Smith at 9:30? And John Ward, you're going to join us back here today for the Milk Fund auction at 4,
I
right?
heard that rumor.
Okay, we're holding you to it.
Broadcasting live and local daily from the Navigant Credit Union broadcast studio at the corner of Park Avenue and Kennedy Street. This is WOON Woonsocket Radio. And now, the news.